You know that feeling when you're using an app and it just flows, where moving from one screen to the next feels completely natural, almost invisible? Well, a huge part of that magic comes down to a single, fundamental choice every iOS developer makes: how to handle navigation. Today, we're going to break down the two core ways to do it, so you can really master the flow of your own apps. All right, here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with the basic dilemma. Then we'll dive deep into our two main options, push and present. After that, I'm going to give you a super simple rule of thumb so you always know which one to pick. And we'll wrap up by talking about why getting this right is just so incredibly important. At its heart, app navigation is really a story about transitions. It's all about how you get a user from point A to point B. And if you get that story wrong, you can confuse people and make an otherwise amazing app just feel clunky and frustrating. So what's the secret? What makes an app feel so intuitive? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is understanding the two fundamental tools you have in your toolbox. They're called push and present. And even though they both show a new screen, they communicate completely different ideas to the user. Let's start with our first tool, the push transition. The best way to think about this is like you're taking a step deeper into a topic. You're following a logical path, kind of like going down a rabbit hole to get more and more specific information. Now, the key word to latch onto here is stack. A push transition literally puts a new screen on top of a pile, or a stack, of the screens that came before it. This creates a really clear sense of hierarchy, just like you're flipping through the pages of a book. And here's how it works under the hood. First, you need this special container, a UINavigationController, to manage that stack for you. When you move forward, the new screen gets pushed right on top. And here is the best part for the user. iOS automatically creates a back button for you. When you tap it, the current screen gets popped off the stack and it reveals the one that was right underneath. It's so clean, totally predictable, and it's all managed for you. So when should you use this? Pretty much anytime you have a clear hierarchy. Just think about the settings app on your phone. You tap General, that's a push. Then you tap About, that's another push. See, you're drilling down, and you always have a clear breadcrumb trail to get back. A list of emails that takes you to one specific email, that's another perfect example. And for all you developers watching, this is all it takes. Seriously, it's just one line of code. You tell the navigation controller, hey, push this new view controller onto the stack, and boom, you're done. Pretty simple, right? Okay, let's switch gears and talk about our second tool, because it has a completely different feel. If push is all about going deeper, present is about pausing what you're doing to handle something else. It's like a temporary interruption for a self-contained task. This is what we call a modal presentation. The key idea here is that this new screen, it isn't part of the flow you were just in, it slides up and covers the old screen, demanding your full attention for a specific job. You can't touch anything behind it until you're done with this new task. And the mechanics totally reflect this idea. You don't need a special navigation controller. And this is critical. This new screen is not part of that navigation stack we were just talking about. That means no automatic back button. To get back to where you were, the user has to explicitly dismiss it, usually by tapping a done or a cancel button that you, the developer, have to provide. The perfect use cases are for those tasks that you need to either finish or just abandon before you can go back to what you were doing. Think about it: composing a new email, filling out a login form, changing a filter on a search, or responding to an alert. These are all temporary interruptions to your main goal. And once again, the code is just beautifully simple. Any view controller can present another one with just a single command like this. Okay, so we've got these two really powerful tools. How in the world do you choose? Well, it actually comes down to one incredibly simple, powerful rule of thumb that's going to guide you to the right choice every single time. Let this sink in, because this is everything. Just ask yourself one question. Are you taking the user one level deeper into the information they're already exploring? If yes, use push. Or are you interrupting their flow to have them complete a separate temporary task? If yes, use present. That's it. That is the entire decision. And this table here just lays out those key differences side by side so you can really see them. For the mechanism, you've got stack versus modal. For how you get back, it's that automatic back button versus an explicit dismiss action you have to build. And the use cases clearly separate that hierarchical drill down from the self-contained task. Now, I know you might be thinking this all sounds a little subtle, but I promise you, mastering this has two huge payoffs. It affects both the quality of your work and your career. So let's quickly look at those two big reasons. First up, user experience. When you use the right transition for the job, your app feels logical, it feels professional, it just feels right. The user never gets lost because the way you navigate matches how they think. And second, this is a classic technical interview question. Asking about push versus present is a really fast way for an interviewer to see if you truly get the fundamentals of building iOS apps. So let's just boil it all down one last time. Use push when you're moving through a clear hierarchy. Use present for those self-contained modal tasks. And please remember, understanding this difference isn't just some academic exercise. It's a core concept that defines great user experiences and proves you know your stuff. All right, before you go, I've got a little challenge for you. Grab your phone, open up an app you absolutely love, and as you tap around, ask yourself, is this a push or is this a present? Why do you think the developer made that choice? I guarantee you'll start seeing the logic everywhere. Thanks so much for joining me.